Okay, first things first. I just want to let this, I want to put out a little disclaimer here. I have no hidden agenda on what I'm about to say right here and right now. And the reason why I say this is because I've been very consistent about my analysis and critique on certain fighters, certain fights, and the business aspect of the sport of boxing. Okay? I've been very consistent about that. No fighters above criticism and no fighters below praise on my channel. Now, if you're looking for fanboyism, then this is not the channel for you. Okay? I call everything down the middle as I see fit, and I will defend fighters unless I have to defend them, but if they're in the wrong, I will call them out whenever they're in the wrong. Point blank, period. Okay? Now, a few days ago, Kell Brook had gave an interview with IFL TV in London. I think it was 2 days before his fight with Kevin Bizier when he was defending his welterweight title. He mentioned in an interview that he would love to have a fight with Gennady Golovkin. And he said, quote, that I would love to take the Golovkin fight. I want the fight. Since nobody's willing to fight this guy, I'll do it. And I want to fight at 157-pound catch weight. Okay? So when Eddie Hearn was asked about it, he said, yes, we're very serious about it. We would like to have the Golovkin fight at the 157 catch weight. Okay? So I posted a video about it and out from my thoughts and, my hypothetical breakdown on if the fight were to go down and who would win and, what advantages this fighter has over the other and all that other stuff, blah, blah, blah. The norm of when you break down a potential matchup or a matchup that is going to get made. So a lot of guys came on and commented, and these are the some Triple G supporters. They commented on my video, and some of them said, well, Brook is not serious about this fight. He's not serious about it. And, I said, look, I beg to differ because I think he is serious about it. When he, based off his candor and his wording, I think, his posture about it, and I think he's serious. Because I don't think Kell Brook's afraid of a challenge. And the reason why he's saying this is because he has been very frustrated over the last year now. After the Sean Porter fight, he hasn't had real challenges. He's had a couple fights that's fell through. He's been in, he's had personal issues. He's had to deal with injuries. He had a stabbing incident that took place in Ibiza, Spain, whatnot. And he's looking for a lucrative big name fight. And he said himself that after this Bizier defense, he's going after the big fish now. No questions about it. And I do think he should fight the likes of maybe Keith Thurman, Errol Spence Jr., or Sean Porter, or actually he beat Sean Porter. But, I wouldn't mind seeing the rematch. Danny Garcia, which people are talking about a potential unification about with Danny Garcia. So definitely some names at the welterweight division. But anyhow, some guys are dismissing Kell Brook as saying that, well, Kell Brook belongs in another long list of fighters who are calling out Golovkin. They don't mean it. They're just blowing a lot of hot smoke, a lot of hot air. They haven't reached out to Golovkin's management to make this fight. They're not serious. They're just using his name so they can create, popularity for themselves and whatnot. Blah blah blah. I mean, if that's their perspective on it, so be it. Okay. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when they mention Brook, they think Brook was just blowing hot air and smoke. The Andre Ward and Erislandy Lara names came up in the conversation, and I don't know why, but I felt there was need to respond to it. I said, look, well, okay. Yeah, let's talk about the Erislandy Lara situation for a second. Yeah, the Erislandy Lara situation. Yes. Well, let me backtrack that for a minute. First things first. 2 years ago, it was Golovkin's management and his trainer, Abel Sanchez, which I'll get to about in the end of this video. They're the ones who issued the challenge to all the fighters at 154, 160, and 168. Okay? They issued the challenge. And one of those few fighters who responded to that challenge was Erislandy Lara. Okay? And when Tom Loeffler was asked about Erislandy Lara or a potential fight with him, this is what he had to say. He said that he was not interested in the fight. He didn't want the Lara fight. He said the fight that we're looking for is Floyd Mayweather. He's the only fighter that will go down to 154 for, and we're also looking at Peter Quillin and Sergio Martinez. Well, obviously they couldn't get the Sergio Martinez and the Peter Quillin fight because obviously those guys blatantly ducked Golovkin. Blatantly ducked him. Okay? But at the same time, there's a lot of guys comment on my channel, or actually on the video, are explaining that it was Lara's management who came out and admitted that they didn't want the Golovkin fight. They never pursued it. Okay, fair enough. But what my point is that it was Loeffler who initially didn't want the fight in the beginning. He said he was not interested in the Erislandy Lara fight. They said they wanted big names. And yet, that is a duck. Duck on Golovkin's end right there. Okay? Or on his management's part, because they didn't want the Lara fight in the beginning. Yes, Lara made a whole heap of call-outs. He made a string of call-outs, and his management came out and conceded that they weren't pursuing the fight. But the bottom line is this. Golovkin ducked Lara in the beginning, and Lara's call-outs were meaningless because his management admitted that they didn't want the fight. So with that said, both fighters didn't want to fight each other. They weren't serious about making the fight. But oh no, those Triple G fans who were commenting on my video were saying that's nonsense. It's Lara who's blowing all the hot smoke, not Triple G. I said, look, I can't believe you guys didn't know this. This is research. I submitted the link to the articles below where Loeffler had made this statement, and then again, they still took it as a grain of salt. Unbelievable. They still took it as a grain of salt. And I'm trying to have an honest debate about this, and they're getting a little hostile towards me when I'm trying to defend Ward and Lara, which I'm going to get to right now. Me with Andre Ward situation. Now, Chavez Jr., well, first thing first, the 168-pound division, okay? Loeffler and K2 were trying to pursue a fight with Carl Froch and Chavez Jr., Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., okay? Both those fights fell through. But one of the fighters who responded to that challenge was Andre Ward, the linear champion. Now, when Ward responded to the challenge, Loeffler and his group offered Ward a 50-50 split, 164-pound catchweight fight. So wait a minute, you're going to offer the linear champion a catchweight fight while the other two guys, Froch and Chavez Jr., 168-pound fighters, you're going to give them the normal weight, but not, you're going to offer them the normal 168-pound fight, but not Andre Ward. So I said, look, in that situation, that looks kind of flaky on their end because they're going to willing to fight these guys at 168, but not Andre Ward. That makes them look very inconsistent right there. So how in the hell can you offer the linear champion a catchweight, but not Froch and Chavez Jr.? So one of the comments said, well, first of all, Froch and Chavez Jr. are money fights. They bring in money, not Ward. Ward don't bring no money in. I was like, okay, if that's the case, then you should explain why is Gennady Golovkin taking fights with Matthew Macklin, William Monroe, and Mark Murray at middleweight. Were those guys big money fights? Okay, then. So it's just no excuse. All right, so why are you offering the linear champion catchweight, who are not even that big of a super middleweight compared to Froch and Chavez Jr.? So anyways, months passed by, and to my own admission, Andre Ward sent an offer, which is the timing of it was kind of awkward. He sent it in on the eve of the announcement of Gennady Golovkin versus David Lemieux unification bout. Okay? He sent the counter offer of a 50-50, 168-pound fight, 50-50 split. So within minutes, Loeffler rejected the fight. He rejected it, right? So he came out and said that the offer was unfair, no 50-50, 168 fight. But what he didn't disclose is that the fight was going to happen the following year. Now, I can understand that if they announced that the Lemieux fight, which is going to take place in the fall of September of 2015, and then Ward's asking for the fight to take place in maybe November or December of 2015, I can understand that. I can understand that's not fair because your fighter just came off could have suffered an injury in the Lemieux fight, which he didn't, but it is what it is. The fight would have taken place this year, and Loeffler rejected it. So I asked these commenters, explain why that's not fair. Why a 50-50, 168 split not fair? They say, oh, because Ward's a diva. He don't deserve a 50-50 split. He brings no money. As I mentioned again, so Willie Monroe brings money. Matthew Macklin brings money. So Martin Murray brings money to the table. More than Ward? Oh, please. That's just an excuse. I'm sorry. That's just an excuse. Just not. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to say that Gennady Golovkin is a ducker, but I'm just saying that it just looks bad that you're calling out. You called out a division. A fighter responds to it, and then all of a sudden you reject his counteroffer. It just looks bad. I'm sorry. And yes, I criticized Andre Ward. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not an Andre Ward fanboy by any means whatsoever. I criticized Ward for his bad business deals ever since he won the Super 6, which was a tough Super 6 challenge that he had to go through. A Super 6 challenge tournament that nobody thought he could win. And the last fight, the final fight of that tournament, I think it was the finals, the final fight where he was the underdog against Miguel Kessler. Nobody thought he could win that fight against Kessler, but he came through. So he had to overcome certain odds to win that Super 6. He had to go through monsters in that division, and he beat them. He cleaned it out. And I have to say is this. As much as I criticize Ward for being a diva and all the bad business deals that he's made, including turning down the Lucia Bute fight, which I felt that was a terrible mistake. He let Froch come in there and take that title away from Bute. That was a terrible mistake. I think that was one of the major setbacks in his career, and I criticized him for that. But the fact of the matter is this. The hate that Andre Ward is getting right now is very unwarranted. Okay? He's a guy who hasn't been afraid of challenges. Okay? He'll take on challenges, but yet he feels that he's more rewarding. Yes, I'm not here to tell a fighter that they're more rewarding than they should, but sometimes I feel they need to take a fight so they can stay busy and stay poised. Okay? I think the hate with Andre Ward is very unwarranted and is uncalled for. Just like the hate for Gennady Golovkin is very unwarranted and is uncalled for. It's very uncalled for. Yes, he's a diva. I get all that. But at least he's not like the other fighter. I'm not going to mention his name. He's retired now, and you guys know who I'm referring to. He's not like the other fighter who goes in there and chooses his opponents and has to have all the advantages that he can possibly get and disrespect legends that came before him so that way he can sell tickets to a fight. And we all know it's going to be very dull. And you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to get into all that. But what I'm saying is this. Is that why hate the man when he's actually going to give us the most dangerous fight of his career this fall, eventually, and that's Sergey Kovalev. Ward is not afraid of anybody. He's going to take any challenges that he could possibly get, okay? And he's not even a big light heavyweight, all right? This is a man who dismantled Sullivan Barrera, who was one of the great amateurs. Not saying a great, he was a very good amateur, had over 100, about close to 200 amateur fights, 17-0 with 12 KOs, was the mandatory challenger to Sergey Kovalev's title. This is the same Sullivan Barrera where a lot of people accused Andre Ward for ducking, okay? Until when he signed the fight on, he finally signed on the fight to get made. A lot of people were making uploads who despises Ward. There were guys who were who were saying that Ward was going to get knocked out by Sullivan Barrera. But when Ward all of a sudden humiliates Barrera, schooled him badly, now they call him Barrera a bum. Excuse me. Unbelievable. You call him a bum. Okay. Now, moving on. I know I'm getting off topic here. What I'm saying is this. You had another 168-pound challenger, Andre Durrell, who called out Golovkin. But Loeffner didn't respond to that. Why didn't they respond to Andre Durrell? Oh, I know why. I'm just assuming because Andre Durrell actually is one of the few men that beat Golovkin in the amateurs. And Golovkin probably know what Durrell can do. So that's why they didn't respond to that. So, one of the commentators is like, well, why is Triple G got to be the only one that's got to reach out and you reach out and make fights for certain fighters? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. When somebody calls you out, you have to respond to it. You have to respond to it if somebody calls you out. Call that fighter's bluff if they call you out. I mean, that's what we all did to Floyd, right? When people were calling him out. Floyd didn't make those guys no offers. They were trying to call him out. So, yeah, Floyd were being dismissive of certain guys. So, I'm not saying Triple G's being dismissive, but it does seem like it when certain guys are calling him out. Well, not him, but his management. And let's make this clear. I know Triple G is no coward. He'll fight anybody. He's not afraid of competition. But the fact of the matter is this. His management messaging is so inconsistent and it's making him look bad. I'm going to give you some examples. And shout out to Dilltown, by the way. Dilltown put out a couple, a series of clips on his video about his title. I'll put a link to the video. It's called Triple G Needs to Fire His Management, which I have to agree. Because this is Triple G management. I've said this once and I say it again. They're the ones who issued the challenge of all the fighters from 154, 160, 168, right? They were willing to fight Froch and Chavez Jr. at 168, but only offer Andre Ward a catchweight. And then after they get through either one of those fights, they were willing to come down to 154 to fight Floyd. Okay? In one video, Abel Sanchez, well, actually before that, in one video, Tom Loeffner had a conversation with Carl Froch. Carl Froch is like, this is what Carl Froch just retired. He's like, look, I may consider to come out of retirement, right? Now, Golovkin, how far can Golovkin go up in weight? Because I can't make 168 no more. I'm not sure if Froch was bullshit when he said that, but he said, let's make it 172 and we can get this fight done. And Loeffner comes out and says, well, you know what? I don't think Triple G, he can't make no more than 168 because he's a very small middleweight. He can't make no more than 168. Okay. Then in another video, in a separate video, Abel Sanchez gave an interview saying that Gennady Golovkin won't have no problem moving up to 175. He won't have no problem moving up in the weight. Sanchez said that Gennady Golovkin handles 175-pound fighters in sparring. He brutalizes them. In fact, he even handles cruiserweights. And Sanchez said, I'm not going to name those cruiserweight champions, but he handles them in sparring. So if moving up in weight and fighting those guys would be no problem for him. And then what do we get? A contradiction 2 days later. And this is so funny. This contradiction is so funny is that not only did Abel Sanchez contradict himself from that previous video, but he contradicted himself within seconds after one statement after another. So, so he was responding to a question where Floyd Mayweather issued an ultimatum to Gennady Golovkin. Say, look, if you could move up in weight and fight Andre Ward, they come down to weight and fight me. And I think that's bullshit on Floyd. You know, Floyd being the being carefully as he is, you know, he doesn't want to take on fighters in their prime, especially when they're dangerous as Golovkin. He refuses to fight them. So we all know that. You know, I have my reservations with Floyd. I just think he needs to just enjoy his retirement and just don't say anything because he makes himself look more dumb than he is. I'm just being real. But anyhow, Golovkin, Abel Sanchez answers the question with Floyd about Floyd's ultimatum. So he says, well, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. Why should Gennady Golovkin move up to 168 and then come down and weight and fight Floyd at 154? And then one of the vloggers, and I'm not going to name who he is, you guys know who I'm talking about, he responded to that, and he followed up with that and called out Abel Sanchez and said, look, first of all, you guys weren't willing to fight Froch and Chavez Jr. at 168, but once you were going to take that fight, you would have come down to 154 to fight Floyd, right? Abel Sanchez had the look that would really have you roll on the floor. Because that look was like a contradiction. Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up with that answer. Look. And he responded by like, well, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We would have taken a fight with Froch and Chavez Jr. 168. They come down to 154 to fight Floyd. And the vlogger was like, why? Why? Okay, you just said that it was stupid for him to do that now to Ward, but why are you saying that would have been made sense then? He's like, look, it's about the money. It's about the business. That's what Abel Sanchez was saying. It's about the business. Oh, my God, man. And, again, don't get me wrong. I love Golovkin. I love his fights, and I'm a fan of his. But you can't blindly follow him, and you got to call out the hypocrisy here. You can't call out divisions, ask for a catchweight, then dismiss other fighters, and then say that, oh, these fighters weren't serious. And when they are serious, you're going to find a way to not, give them the attention, not give them the attention, to not, accept some of their offers. I mean, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. And this makes Golovkin look very bad. If I'm Golovkin, I would speak up and say, look, guys, you need to stop contradicting yourselves because you got Tom Loeffner saying one thing. You got Abel Sanchez saying another thing, such as, well, Loeffler is suggesting that Gennady Golovkin can't fight no higher than 168. And then you got Abel Sanchez saying that he could fight higher than could fight up to 175 or even up to cruiserweight. And then in another separate video, come out and said that it's stupid for Gennady to go up to 168. He can't fight higher. He can't fight at 168. They come down to 154, which they initially stated that that's what they were willing to do. Because 2 years ago, they called out the 154 and 168 division. And then I got these commenters who get upset when I bring that up. It's like, man, you can't blindly follow the man. You got to call out the hypocrisy the way it's seasoned, and that's what I do. And that's all I got to say, y'all. All right, I'm done. This video is done. I'm out.